Natalie Sidesurf here of Sidesurf Cake Studio, and I'm going to show you how I made a bowl of alphabet SpaghettiOs cake. It's official. As of this moment right now, this is the weirdest cake cutting experience that I've ever had in my life. And I've had some weird ones. If you stick around to the end of the video, then you can watch me cut it and you can see for yourself. Quick question before we get started. Do you like this video? If you like this video, can you give it a like? Because it really helps us out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now because I put out a new cake video every Monday. So let's get started. The first thing to do is color vanilla buttercream the color of the tomato sauce, which is a reddish orange color. Definitely heavy on the orange. So I started out by adding a few drops of orange food color. I use gel food color because it's super saturated, so you get quite a bit of color from just a few drops, without adding too much liquid to your buttercream. Next, I add a drop of red food color into the buttercream and a small drop of green food color just on the edge of the bowl. That way, I can just scrape a little bit of that green onto my spatula and control how much gets mixed in. I only need a tiny bit of green. The reason I even add the green is because red and green are complementary colors, and the green will make that red more of a natural, deeper red. More like a tomato sauce. Now that I've got my reddish orange buttercream, let's bust out the cake. Here I have a white bowl and a round parchment stencil that fits nicely in the bowl. I want this cake to be a cake that anyone can make, so I'm using a real bowl rather than making an edible bowl. This is a beginner's welcome cake. I placed the stencil onto a layer of vanilla cake, and I roughly cut around the stencil with a serrated knife. For the second layer of cake, I use that same stencil, only this time I cut about a ½ inch or so away from the stencil so that this second layer is a bit larger than the first. Then I place the smaller cake layer into the bowl to make sure that it fits, which it does. Wonderful. Now I'm going to cut the edges of the cake at an angle just to make that cake fit even more snugly. Then I place it back in the bowl, followed by a layer of the red-orange buttercream, and then that second layer of cake that's a bit larger, and then finally that final layer of buttercream. Next, I'm sprinkling a generous amount of cornstarch onto a nonstick mat, and I'm spreading it all over the place. I'm about to make alphabet pasta with ivory modeling chocolate, and that cornstarch is going to keep everything from getting too sticky. Now I'm rolling out super thin modeling chocolate coils. You can absolutely use fondant for this too, which is actually probably a bit easier to handle when you're working at a size this small. But I'm a modeling chocolate lover. I tend to make things harder than they need to be, so modeling chocolate it is. With a blade, I'm cutting out small sections to shape into letters, starting with the letter I. I figure why not start simple and ease my way into the harder letters. My technique for the letters is to shape them on the mat and then gently smash them with my thumb. The alphabet pasta isn't perfectly round. It's slightly flat, so that's why I'm smashing. Speaking of smash, you know what to do. Smash the like button, if you're into this video, of course. I hope that you are because I'm making this cake just for you. So what's great about making this alphabet pasta is you don't have to be perfect. In fact, it will look more realistic if your letters are a little bit off. I remember eating alphabet SpaghettiOs as a kid, and you'd try to make a spoon message, but your L is all like weird and hangy looking. It just looks weird and wrong. It's like those expectations versus reality memes. The reality is sometimes alphabet pasta letters are wonky looking. Just run with it. Now that my letters are made, it's time to work on the tomato sauce, which in this case is actually gelatin. Here I have some already made, it's ready to go, and I have a tutorial showing you exactly how I make this gelatin, So I'll place a link in the description so you can make it too. I'm adding a few drops of orange gel food color and slowly mixing it in. Don't get too speedy with your mixing or you're gonna get a bunch of bubbles in your gelatin, and we don't want bubbles for this cake. You can see that the food color takes some time to dissolve, but it eventually will after a little stirring, so don't worry. At least mine did. Then I added a little red color, and just like the buttercream, I added a tiny bit of green that's going to deepen the color. The last color that I'm adding is white. I have some white spread on the spatula and I'm mixing it in. The reason I'm adding white, and this is very, very important, is because the gelatin is transparent. So basically it's see-through. But the tomato sauce is translucent, meaning some light passes through, but not all light. So that white food color is going to make this look slightly foggy, and it's gonna look just like the real tomato sauce. So pour some of the gelatin onto the cake, just enough to cover the entire top with a thin layer. I have to work quickly because this gelatin recipe will quickly start to firm up, especially when it's spread out thin. And now I'm pouring the alphabet chocolate on top. I made sure that most of the surface has some letters on it. It doesn't have to be super packed, but you want them to be spread out. And finally, I'm adding that last layer of gelatin over top of the letters. I love this. Look at that little J. It's just swimming around like it's in a real bowl of SpaghettiOs. Where you going, little J? With a paintbrush, I submerge all the letters in the gelatin. I have to do it quickly though, before that gelatin firms up. I love the way that some of the letters look like they're deeper in the bowl and then some are closer to the surface. It is so neat. My kind of cake. I decided to add a spoon message that says, you guessed it, cake. So I'm placing the letters onto the spoon and then I'm attempting to brush gelatin over top. Attempting. It's super sticky. I am definitely failing here. All right, I need to get it together. I'm gonna line those letters back up. There you go. And now the letters are sticking to the spoon better. So brushing the gelatin on is working now. And there you have it, a bowl of alphabet SpaghettiOs cake. Are you ready for the weird part? Let's cut this thing. And it's awkward. This is weirding me out so much. Look how gross that looks. I swear it smelled and tasted like amazing cake, but it looks so odd. It's the weirdest, and I love it. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. New cake videos every Monday. I have no idea what my next cake will be, but I hope it's as strange as this one.